College Football 25 has released, it is now here, and I am ready to take on our first Dynasty series where I will be using the Arkansas Razorbacks to take them to a competitive roster in the SEC, compete for SEC championships, playoff spots, and national championships. I think it'll be a challenging rebuild in a way because they are kind of at the bottom of the SEC. So while they are somewhat prestigious, the recruiting might be a little easier. The competitiveness of the SEC is going to make it difficult to compete. Arkansas Razorbacks is my first squad because they are my hometown team and I used to use them in NCAA 14 all the time. So I'm super pumped to have them in the game again where I can begin to build a competitive roster and eventually crown them as national champs. In this video, we're going to look at the roster that we currently have. We're going to look at our schedule and we're going to look at some of the players that we might have for the future that will be very beneficial to the team. We will also dabble a little bit into our first week of recruiting to see what players are interested, who we've offered scholarships to, and what players may be joining the squad next season. Let's just look at our roster as a whole. You can see our overalls here. Nothing too great. We've got Landon Jackson, who's going to be our star defensive player on the defensive line. He's a 92 overall, and I expect him to be great for our defense and make a lot of plays. Our best offensive player on the list is sophomore tight end Luke Haas, who is our second best player. So we've got a lot of development to do. I think we have a lot of good players, maybe not high overalls, but I think we have a lot of good players. So I'm excited to take on this roster. Taking a look at the depth chart first, we'll start with the quarterbacks. I just wanted to highlight our starter, Talon Green. We will talk about the backups here in a few minutes. However, with Talon Green, he is the starter currently. He is a redshirt junior, and the others being freshmen. And with Talon, he's going to be a scrambler type, so he's going to be fast. And he does have a lot of good attributes and a lot of good abilities that I think will translate well to the field for us. Starting at running back is Jaquindon Jackson. He's a senior. He is a power back and 88 overall. So he is going to be a great player for us. With the power, I expect him to be utilized well in goal line situations and short yardage situations. So I will definitely turn to him a lot. And we definitely want to run the ball. So he will be one of our impact players. One of the areas I definitely want to improve on the team is our wide receiver depth. We do have some good players with good attributes. However, we don't have a lot of higher overall players. The good thing is I will focus on this in recruiting, and I love recruiting wide receivers. It's my favorite position, so I'm excited to see who we can add to the team. For now, we have starter Andrew Armstrong, and I'll highlight someone else as well, but he is our current best wide receiver. He's got great size, great abilities, and I expect him to be a very big impact on the offense. The player I'm most excited about on this offense is sophomore tight end Luke Haas. He's one of the best tight ends in the country, and I expect him to be the focal point of our offense, the number one option. I do expect to use him all over the field where he will be a big impact for us. Another area that I'd like to improve through recruiting would be our defensive backs. As you can see, we do have some solid players. Our best corner is an 84 overall, and he is a sophomore, Jalen Braxton. The good news is he's young, and he should develop into a great corner. However, I love corner depth, so it is definitely one of the focal points I'm going to be focusing on in recruiting. Speaking of Jalen Braxton, I wanted to specifically highlight him because he's one of the younger players on the roster, and he does have the star development trait, so he should develop very well and be an immediate impact because he's an 84 overall. However, he should develop into a great player in his junior and potentially senior seasons. Luke Haas also has the star development trait, so as the focal point in our offense at tight end, I do think he will develop into a great player, and I'm hoping he can go pro in this game and help our cause. We do not have a high rating when it comes to players being drafted, so I would definitely like to change that to help our recruiting out. One of the players I've definitely had fun using and I think will be a big time player in our offense is wide receiver Isaiah Sategna. He's from Fayetteville, which is local to us, and it's where Arkansas Razorbacks play. So definitely someone I want to utilize in the offense. He's very fast, shifty. He's current slot receiver. However, he's going to be used a lot. I'm excited to see how he develops because he also has the star development rating, so he should turn into a great college player in the next season or two. I talked about our backup quarterbacks, and I'll dive into this a little bit. We've got Malachi Singleton. He's more of a field general type, and he's got some speed, but a little less speed than I typically like, but he is a little more accurate. Our other option as our backup quarterback, so we'll see how it goes. However, hopefully we won't have to worry about it, and Taylon Green can stay healthy and develop into a great player in his senior season. KJ Jackson is the other option as our backup quarterback. He is a little better when it comes to speed. However, he does struggle with deep accuracy. So we will see. I do love to throw the ball deep. So it is kind of a struggle when someone isn't strong in that area. Now we're going to dive into our first schedule for the 2024 season. As you can see, our first opponent is going to be FCS West. Hopefully this is a blowout, but we'll see how it goes. Gonna try to keep this as realistic as possible, but I am new to the game and I'm kind of just jumping into this, so we'll see how it goes. We then play Oklahoma State and running back Ollie Gordon, who is a Heisman candidate. I am not excited about trying to stop him because when I've seen him in the game, he has been elite. So I'm gonna be focusing on him a lot and selling out for the run in week 2, and we'll see if we can stop him. We then play UAB, which hopefully will be a freebie win. I'm not trying to lose to any teams that I definitely should beat, especially in this tough SEC conference. After UAB, we head to a brutal schedule where we will play Auburn, Texas A&M, and then Tennessee before a bye week. So in the SEC, it is tough. You're consistently playing top talent. And after our bye week, we then play LSU, and then we play Mississippi State in week 9. The schedule doesn't get any easier as we play Ole Miss in week 10, followed by a bye week, and then Texas in week 12. They are both top 5 teams, and chances are we're going to struggle against them. Hopefully we can pull an upset off in one of the games, but we'll see how it goes. Then another potential freebie in Louisiana Tech until we play Missouri, who is our rival, and we will see if we can beat them. That is definitely going to be a priority because I always want to win rival games. To wrap up the video, we're going to go over some recruiting that I did and just briefly kind of go over each prospect. The first prospect on my board right now is Amari Hamden. He is a athlete, but he has a wide receiver build. He's 6'4", and his labeled tendency is possession. He's a 4-star recruit out of Jonesboro, Arkansas, so he's homegrown. He's a gem as well with really good statistics. Shows that he's got a 82 catch in traffic, which I really like for a possession receiver, obviously. So he's going to be someone we can rely on to catch the ball. And he's got a lot of height, so he should be a red zone weapon. So he is my number 1 option right now on my recruiting board. I'm going to do everything I can to land him. Going to be my priority. But there's definitely some other players I think that can make an impact on the team. And I do think that we might be able to even snag a few more wide receivers, but he potentially might be the best one. We're not able to see the development trait just yet. I believe we won't ever be able to see that unless we unlock a certain coaching trait. But right now we're number 1 on his list, and I am hoping that stays that way because he is someone I really want on the team. I believe with proximity to home being an A, I'm not sure what like Ole Miss or LSU would do, so I'm hoping that with him being Arkansas, that I should be able to land him. Offered the scholarship, and so once we're able to put points towards him, I will probably put as many points as I can. Up next, we've got Timmy Grubbs. He is a 4-star offensive tackle. He's a 4-star defensive tackle. I misread that. And we just added him. It looked like we were 2nd on his board. We are proximity to home B+, so I wanted to go ahead and take a shot at him and see if I can add some defense. He's definitely labeled as a speed rusher, and it's got good size at 6'2", so I do think he would be a great addition to our defense. Um, and you can see he's 100% scouted. Stats look good. We're number 2 on his board. Moving on, we've got our left tackle, Kevin Dinopoli. His archetype is agile, so he's got great size. He's 6'7", 311. We are kind of far down on his board, but it kind of looks like everyone is pretty even. So I'm really hoping that we have a shot at landing him. And as you can see, his stats are very solid. So I do think with our offensive line being pretty weak, I do need to make that a priority. I know I've already mentioned making wide receiver and corner a priority, but I need to go ahead and make offensive line a priority as well. And that brings us to Enrique Nesbitt, who we are also kind of far down on his board. We are 8th. He's also what I'm assuming is labeled as a bust. He's got the red diamond, and he's got great size, 6'7", left tackle. However, his stats just might be a little less than the normal 4-star prospect because it does look like he was labeled as a bust. He's got good enough stats though that I'm going to keep recruiting him and see if we can get him on the team. I can't really be too picky right now, especially with it being my first attempt at recruiting. And then we move on to another athlete, Quincy Goda. And this player seems to be a quarterback, and he's labeled as a scrambler. He's from Oklahoma, so he's nearby. He's got good size, 6'4". We're number 2 school on his list, so it looks like we have a solid chance. You can see he's got a moderately good arm, 86 throwing power. He's got pretty decent accuracy, and he's got great speed at 91 speed. So I do like players or quarterbacks that have really good speed, and I can deal with little inaccuracy because of that, but that's okay. And he was a 3-star. So we've got another 4-star here. It's a left end, Trent Chaney. He's also looking like he might be a bust. However, again, I kind of just want to shoot my shot at all these recruits regardless, just because I don't have a lot of options. So I went ahead and offered him a scholarship, and I'm hoping that he can Next, we've got Martin Cooks, and he's a right outside linebacker. He's from Denver, Colorado, 6'3". He's a power rusher. He is another bust, and so we've had several of those in a row. He's right now he's got a 7th on his list. We'll see. They all look somewhat even, so we might have a shot. I do think I'm going to go ahead and pursue recruiting him, even though he is labeled as a bust, but we can see how that goes. And now we move on to Garrison Henderson, a cornerback. He's got good size for a corner. He's 6 foot tall. He's from West Memphis, Arkansas. I definitely want to keep the Arkansas players coming to Fayetteville to play for us. And scouting wise, I didn't end up scouting him. I just went ahead and offered a scholarship. I kind of ran out of points in the off season, but we're going to go ahead and go for it. And we are lower on his list, but I'm hoping we can move up his ranks. Now we move on to Max Awasikwa, 4-star. He is a bust as well, right outside linebacker. Got great size, 6'5", from Nashville, Tennessee. He's a power rusher. We have 3rd on his list, so I'm definitely going to pursue him. He's still got moderately good stats, so I'm still just trying to get the best players I can, and I did not have a lot of options on our recommended recruiting tab, so we might just have to deal with some of these busts, but that's okay. Now we move on to Isaiah Pike. He is an athlete from Mena, Arkansas, and it's looking like he's going to be an elusive running back. So we definitely need some more running backs because ours, after our current starter, aren't that great. but or they at least don't have high overall. I do like the way some of them play, but I really like this player. Got great change of direction, 89. I like shifty running backs, especially that I can throw to out of the backfield. We're sixth on his list right now, so we'll see. Tyreek Kroom. He's from Springdale, Arkansas. It's right down the road from me, so I am going to try my hardest to land this prospect. He's a 4-star running back, elusive as well, and he's got good size, 5'11". We're seventh on his list, but I really want to try to get him to land on our squad. He's got great stats, great speed, and I really think that he could be a special player for us. And I just love the fact that he's right down the road. So I really hope he will commit to us at the next level. Now we've got Daryl Dugan. He is a quarterback from North Little Rock, Arkansas. He's 6'4". He's got some speed. We're first on his list, so we're definitely going to recruit him and see how it goes. And he's a 3-star, which is less than ideal, but that's okay. We can work with it. He's got moderately good stats, and chances are he wouldn't play right away anyways, so he would have some time to develop and hopefully gain some attributes in areas that he's weak in. Now we've got Torrey Charles. We've got a tight end, which we don't necessarily need a tight end. We've got one of the best tight ends in the country, and then also our depth is pretty nice. However, some of them we're talking about potentially transferring out due to playing time and lack of providing pros. So we'll see. But we definitely need to recruit him anyways. He's a vertical threat, got great catching stats. So he could definitely fit right in as a backup tight end and maybe develop his junior or senior season and become an impact player for us. Now we're going to move on to Cortez McNabb. So we've got a quarterback with the last name McNabb as a scrambler. I had to put him on our list. We're fourth on his list, and we went ahead and offered him a scholarship. He's 6'4" as well, so he's got good size and speed. And I do think that even though he's a 3-star, I still think he could develop into a pretty good quarterback, and I'd be excited to land him. But got to be careful because I don't want to land too many quarterbacks and then kind of have a issue with one of them transferring, but I might have to just stick to one and choose one depending on who prefers us. And now we move on to George Hammer, who is a gem. We finally get a gem. We are third on his list. I definitely want him to come to our school. He's a right end speed rusher from Texas. With the gem, I'm thinking he'll be better than your normal 3-star, so I definitely want him on the squad and to solidify and bolster our defensive line. And because our best player is leaving, and we can definitely use some help there. Here's another receiver. I didn't have a ton of receiving options on the recommended recruiting board. Jimmy Stuber, he's a wide receiver out of Jonesboro, Arkansas. He's only 5'11", so he doesn't have great height and size. However, he's a route runner, and I do think we have a potential chance at landing him. And we might just have to redshirt and just let him sit and kind of go from there and see how he develops. But it's promising that he's a gem, so maybe he'll have a higher development trait. I don't necessarily know how it works, but I'm excited to try to recruit him. Now we move on to Cedric Green. He's a kicker. Not much to say here. We're number 1 on his list. We have a senior kicker. I need one. He's from Little Rock, so it's the perfect combination. I'm just pretty much going to go for it with him, and hopefully we won't lose out on him. I didn't fully scout him. He was the first player I scouted. I kind of did it wrong, but either way, going for him. I'll fully scout him later, and I think we have a pretty solid chance at him. I hate putting too much effort into a kicker, but we definitely need one. I don't even know how much I'll be kicking because of how difficult it kind of seems to kick in this game, but we'll see. And now I've got Jaden McKinley, Alfonso Dyson. Here's some that I'm kind of maybe not pursuing fully, but with Dyson, we're second on his board, and he was a gem, and right outside linebacker, power rusher. So great size from Texas. So got good attributes. And so again, we want those gems, 3-star gems. will fit right in on our squad, and we can see them develop, and hopefully they have a higher development trait. And now you can see again, I'm just going through and you see Nathan Katz. He's a left end. He's also a gem. So he's going to be a power rusher. He's from College Station, Texas. So I'm kind of shocked that Texas A&M is not higher on his list. However, we might have a shot at him. And we have a shot at several defensive players, I think, that should be able to make an impact. So I'm excited about that. Love bolstering the defense. I would consider defense my weakness on the game. So we definitely need all the help we can get. And I really hope that some of these players, like I said, have a higher development trait to where they can develop into starters or elite players. And we now move on to Dexter Waddle. We got Manny Hood. I don't know how to say his name. Daniel Patton, Logan Jewell, Jamison Dillard. He was a gem. These are just some of the players towards the end of my board that I threw a scholarship at. I doubt anything will come of it, but I wanted to go ahead and throw a scholarship at them. But that kind of wraps up our recruiting video. I hope that we're able to land some of these top guys that I'm targeting, and they can potentially become impact players for us in the near future. If you can, please like, subscribe, and follow along as we take Arkansas hopefully to new heights in the SEC and compete for championships. I'll be dropping week 1 here shortly, and then we'll just hopefully have a steady rotation.